Okay, thank you for being here and welcome to Lima and welcome to PUC, your home for 3 days or the next 3 days. Here we are, I mean, after a long journey, I think, and too many emails and too many Zoom meetings. And we are very, very honored and very happy to have you all here. First, we will have Dr. David Sulmont, who is the chair of the Department of Social Sciences, to give us some words, please. And he is representing the principal of the president of the university.
Thank you. Dear Wolf Kansteiner, past president of the Memory Studies Association, dear Joanna Varsnisiak, president of the Memory Studies Association, dear Maria Eugenia Ulfe, chair of this conference, dear participants of the 8th Congress of the Memory Studies Association, estimados amigos, estimadas amigas. On behalf of Dr. Julio del Valle, rector of the Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú, I am honored to extend you a warm welcome to our university, the chosen venue for this significant conference. We hope these days of academic exchange and discussions on memory studies in various societies around the world will be engaging, fruitful, and help to advance and consolidate this important in this interdisciplinary field. It is a great privilege for the Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú to host this conference. This opportunity reaffirms our institutional mission to promote high-level international academic exchanges and underscores our commitment to the debate, discussion, and research of historical memories. We view these memories not only as an academic field, but also as a human right, particularly for marginalized or invisible social groups affected by power dynamics and violence in our societies. These groups demand that their histories, experience, and voices, as well as their social issues and needs, become part of our collective consciousness. As we know, historical memory is a field of struggle and conflict over defining who we are, who matters, and what story and history to be told. In democratic, pluralistic, and open societies, everyone has the right to be recognized, not just symbolically, but through concrete actions that promote justice, freedom, equality, and fraternity, as reminded by the motto of the French Revolution, whose anniversary was just 3 days ago. Our institutional mission defines our university as an academic community inspired by ethical, democratic, and Catholic principles, serving society and transforming reality through knowledge development, research, innovation, and creation. One of our core values is the respect for human dignity, diversity, and inclusion. Throughout our institutional history, this has led us to support projects as the Peruvian Truth and Reconciliation Commission at the beginning of this century, where many members of our university play prominent roles as commissioners and researchers. The creation of the Institute of Democratic and Human Rights at university, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, also reflects these commitments, as do our institutional statement defending human rights, democracy, and the rule of law in Peru. These backgrounds partly explain the natural reception of our esteemed colleague Maria Eugenia Ulfe's proposal to organize the Memory Studies Association conference in our university. From the Department of Social Science, which I have the honor to lead, we enthusiastically supported this project, which quickly gained the backing of our former rector, Dr. Carlos Garatea, and our former vice rector for research, Dr. Aldo Panfici. The strong institutional support from the highest authorities of our university has been central to organizing this event. In closing, I would like to reiterate the greetings from our rector, Dr. Julio del Valle, along with our best wishes for a successful conference. Welcome to Peru, welcome to Lima and to our university, and thank you for being here with us. Bienvenidos y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros.
And now we will have some words from the president of the dMSA, Wolfgang Steiner. And please.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for the kind introduction, Maria, David. Thank you so much for hosting us. Thank you for the fabulous work you have done, Maria and your team. Thank you also from the institution, from the university, for the financial support, which allowed a number of people to travel here. We very much appreciate that. It's been a challenging year in many ways. We've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Not everything worked according to plan, but we pulled it off. We did it together. It was a truly transnational collaboration. Lima, of course, Warsaw, Maastricht, Madrid, Newcastle, Ontario, Aarhus, many different places, and it worked in the end fine. It has also been a very challenging year in other respects. Memory politics and memory culture have shifted fundamentally, I would argue, in the course of the last year. We're seeing a shift that induces what I might want to describe as a provincializing of Western memory. That's good and bad. Let me try to make 3 points reflecting on the events of the last year. The first one, we've talked for a long time about the end of the World War II era, and in terms of memory, that's happening now as we speak. We have talked for a long time about the ramifications of what would happen then the people who experienced the era of World War II would no longer be with us. Now, that changing point induces a very important ethical shift, because as long as these people were still with us, and a few still are, and that's very important, but as long as these generations were still the audience of our memory efforts, our responsibility was also to those generations. Our responsibility was still to do justice, first and foremost to the victims, but also to the perpetrators and to the bystanders. So there was, in all memory work, there was this element of trying to do justice to those generations. That's now changing, and it's changing rapidly, and that changes the ethical responsibilities, because now our responsibility is only towards the living generation, generations who have not experienced that era. And now memory culture, memory practices, memory activism has to serve them, has to serve their interest. And so the question is, how do we transition? How does, for example, the memory of World War II, Holocaust memory, how does it transition into the future? How can we, for example, integrate productively genocide memory, Holocaust memory, and ecocide memory? Those are the challenges, and I think we are starting to address that work, but those connections still have to be made. The first point. The second point, and that's very much linked also to the events in the Middle East. There's I think both the attack of Hamas, the terrible attack of Hamas, needless to say, illegal attack of Hamas, and also the, what I would term completely irresponsible, and in my view also illegal military response of Israel, has worked like a catalyst. And it is inducing a change of memory paradigms. Completely inadvertently, is my assumption, these events, and also the actions on the side of Israel, have destabilized Holocaust memory as we have used it. So the kind of established memory, self-reflexive, occasionally self-critical, I think it's moving. It has lost some of its effectiveness as a tool of memory politics. And we're seeing the rise of a new register. I think Holocaust memory was perhaps often self-serving, but it had a self-reflexive and occasionally a self-critical element that was very important in the West and sometimes also beyond the West. But it's a shifting. And what is solidifying, I think what we can see is the rise of a new memory paradigm with a lot of potential and a lot of questions for which we don't have answers yet. And that's the rise of a crafting of memory, an interpretation from the past from a decolonial perspective. I think that's the new register, the new paradigm, and it has great potential. It is, of course, concerned with material and ethical justice often. It is not always self-critical. It has great potential for that, but I don't think it always is. But it has a lot of advantages over the former paradigm, for example, with regard to its historical depth. It can easily encompass the history of modernity in many of its terrible aspects. And now the question is how that paradigm will serve, can be integrated with some of our most important political needs. So how does the new paradigm of decolonial memory, how does it serve, for instance, the task of preventing climate catastrophe? So how can we integrate decolonial, anti-colonial memory with the memory of the Anthropocene? That's, I think, one of the challenges, again, another one that we have to address in our work. Now, last, unfortunately not least, we see the rise of another paradigm. We see it very forcefully as a transnational paradigm, terribly successful. That is the rise of a right-wing paradigm. It's often anti-democratic. It's anti-truth. It's pro-exploitation. It's often very, very capitalist with a pro-business agenda. There are many, many protagonists we can identify here. Orban, of course, in Europe to a certain extent, of course, Meloni, Putin, of course, Xi Jinping. You know, the people who are coming together in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and of course, very important, Trump himself. If you have looked at the events of the Republican convention in the days assembled as we speak here, you can see the force of a very, very coherent narrative in action, and the violence, the assassination attempt against Trump fits perfectly into that narrative. So that transnational paradigm is one of our biggest challenges and one of our biggest dangers. And also there can be a very troublesome co-opting of some decolonial elements that this paradigm might integrate. And for one, we have tried to prevent that. Our task is to analyze memory, to recognize how memory is implicated in those turning points, in the problems, in these catastrophes, and also to try to show how memory can provide solutions, how it can foster democracy, how it can help with ethical crisis management and global solidarity. That's what our work is about. We will, of course, continue talking about these problems in many, many panels, in many keynotes, and we will also talk about in very concrete terms, in terms of our advocacy as an association in our members meeting. So I would invite you to that meeting specifically because we want to discuss our draft of of an advocacy policy, and we'll see if our criteria that we have tried to develop, if they work for you and what kind of changes you would recommend. That's where we are. But now let's think about a positive element of the future, and that's our future leadership, the people who will lead the association into a hopefully glorious future. I'm happy to introduce briefly the brilliant colleagues that will follow. And one of them is our much esteemed president-elect, Anne Rigney from the University of Utrecht. She can unfortunately not be here today because of previous family obligations. She sends her regards. She sends her appreciation for your vote of confidence. She wants us to tell you that she is very much looking forward to serving. And of course, you will meet her on many other venues and of course next year also in Prague. You know, you maybe as a very brief reminder, our structure is somewhat convoluted. We have always a president, a past president, and a president-elect. And they work together, they overlap to create continuity. And I, for example, will still be present in the executive committee in the coming year. But the biggest pleasure of the evening for me, for you, is to introduce our now president, Joanna Ojeniak. She will lead us through this meeting, and here she is. Joanna, come. Show is yours.
It is an incredible honor to take the role of the president of the Memory Studies Association for the coming year. And it's the first time I have an official opportunity to thank you, the dMSA members, for your confidence and trust in electing me to this role last year. It is particularly important to me that I'm starting my job here in Lima, Peru. There is a considerable argumentation in social science that Eastern Europe, where I am from, shares similarities with South America regarding the experience of imperialism, dictatorships, wars, mass violence, ethnic cleansing, class struggles, ruptured institutional continuities, and other dramatic changes to geopolitical and social structures. But also there is courage and hope in the shaping of the intellectual horizons for a better world, envisioned by many generations of activists born in our regions of the world. The legacies of violence have been reflected in a robust memory studies literature on Eastern Europe and South America. And I was also very happy to see that this conference will have a comparative panels on our regions. But the experience of violence is also inscribed in our bodies and brains, in our difficult family memories and silences, in our own mnemonic situatedness. Therefore, the MSA, a community of scholars from those and other troubled regions of the world, is a very unique, learned society, sharing not only knowledge of what we study, but also its direct experience. The MSA, this is what I like to repeat, develops around 3 dimensions, which I take to represent the core values of our community, which are global collaboration, mutual care, and transdisciplinary convergence. As to the collaboration, this conference, organized by Maria Eugenia Ulfa, is an important opportunity for the development of initiatives creating a meaningful region-to-region networking. This will happen during the next days, but it will also continue in the virtual space. You could have noticed that the call for the online MSA Forward, an event for early career scholars that accompanies this conference, has been announced. This large workshop, scheduled for November this year, is being co-organized by 4 fantastic young women from 4 regions of the world. Katarzyna Anzorge from Poland, Kritika Notial from India, Angelina Nunes Cueva de Andruszkiewicz from Peru, and Samantha Vaughan from UK, US. As it has been the tradition of the MSA, forward, the PhD students who will be joining the workshop will have the chance to be mentored by the senior scholars and the best minds of our field. So the call is still on, and please do tell your PhD students to apply. Our conference has also additional important element of collaboration. Thanks to the hard work of Maria Eugenia and her team, it is the second time we were able to organize an MSA conference in 2 languages, English and Spanish. It is an important step forward toward the development of the MSA in the direction open to different realms of thought, local knowledges, and various languages. You know, I have spent myself a considerable time on reconstructing forgotten memory research in Poland, and I do understand both the gains and losses of the English language-dominated academia, which really helps to connect us and at the same time wipes off local communities of knowledge. Now, on the need of mutual care. Although the world has never been a safe place, the speed with which we become aware of violence and immense human suffering in its many corners has made us more sensitive that the relation we have with one another, not only as professionals, but above all as human beings, matter. At the MSA members meetings on July 19th, we will have a chance to discuss with you several initiatives we run that relate to mutual care, including our Memory Scholars at Risk program, Transformative Inclusivity program, and the Mentorship program. But you also need to intellectually react as memory scholars to what is going on in this brutal world in which we live. And such responses are indeed a challenge given not only similarities, but also differences about and among our mnemonic positionalities. And Wolf has already announced that we want to discuss with you our right to memory advocacy, which we would really like to hear your feedback about. Finally, the convergence entails growing participation in our field of study from scholars in various branches of the humanities and social sciences. However, of course, we continue to stress the need for more connections with environmental science, cognitive science, and neuroscience. In this respect, I would like to make you aware of our Research Center Network initiative and its meeting at this conference on July 20th. It is a hub for thinking about how we should foster transdisciplinarity, facilitate knowledge transfer with non-academic institutions, and develop our teaching in these directions. Convergence, collaboration, and care, these are the 3 core values in which the MSA grows. But it needs above all to remain a forum for initiatives for you, for our members, our meaningful interactions, our counteracting world trends, a safe space in which we can all think on how to develop the memory studies together. The MSA exists and develops in this direction thanks to the hard and dedicated work of the organizers of its annual conferences. We would not be here together without immense work of Maria Eugenia and her team, who turned the core values of our community into their daily practice. The program opens dozens of wonderful possibilities for us to immerse in collaboration, convergence, and care. We are immensely grateful to you, McKenna, and to you, to your team, to Veronica, and the authorities of the university for making this conference possible. Let us say once again a big thank you. Veronica, please come. Do you have flowers for her? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, she's coming. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, she got the flowers.
So yeah, I will give. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to start saying that the word Yuyashkani, Yuyashkani was they were outside doing some, or in character, let's say, embodying some of the very deeply hearted characters of Peruvian history, mainly. Yuyashkani is a Quechua word for remembering or thinking. And thinking and remembering is what we actually been doing here, I think. And I just want to say that, to say thank you to Socorro for organizing the theater performance outside, for Miguel Rubio, who is a director, for Ana Correa, Augusto Casafranca, Débora Correa, Fidel Melquiades, Julián Vargas, Rebeca Rally, Teresa Rally, Daniel Cano, Gabriela Paredes, Jorge Valdión, Raúl Durán, Ricardo Delgado, Milagros Felipe, Marco Iriarte, Silvia Tomocati, who are members of Yashkani. And I just want to start saying that. So, bienvenidas y bienvenidos a Lima y bienvenidas y bienvenidos a la Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú. We are delighted to have the 2024 Memory Association Conference here at PUC. This is the first time the Memory Studies Association has its conference in Latin America. The next 3 days, we will have 177 sessions distributed in parallel panels, keynotes, special sessions, workshops, plenaries, exhibitions of books, exhibitions of art, screenings of films, a historical timeline. We have more than 460 participants coming from many parts of the world. There is a vast production of memory studies in Latin America that we want actually to share and show. And this is a great opportunity to share with the community of scholars here. Estamos felices de tener el Congreso de la Asociación de Estudios de Memoria este año en la Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú. Es la primera vez que este Congreso se realiza en Latinoamérica. Los próximos 3 días vamos a tener 175 sesiones distribuidas en paneles paralelos, conferencias magistrales, plenarias, sesiones especiales, talleres, exposiciones de arte, exposiciones de libros, proyecciones de filmes, una línea de tiempo histórica. Tendremos más de 450 participantes que llegan de diferentes partes del mundo. Y lo que queremos es poder compartir con ustedes la vasta producción de estudios de memoria desde Latinoamérica. Memories in Transit is a topic for the conference to comprehend social phenomena associated with the idea of circulation, transmission, placement, displacement of memories, abundance of memories, the recipients, the persistence of certain phenomena, as Wolf already mentioned and Joanna too, like racism, discrimination, the way hierarchies are constructed and embodied, the infrastructures of memories, the trance of memories in transit. It's also the way memory subverts common sense and political statements. In a world constantly threatened by the advancement of conservatism and populism, of wars and annihilation of entire countries, memory is there to endure that thing that makes us human, how we construct our worlds, provide significance, and apprehend it historically. Memorias en Tránsito es el tema de la conferencia que escogimos para comprender los fenómenos sociales asociados a la idea de circulación, transmisión, colocación y desplazamiento de las memorias, la abundancia de memorias, sus destinatarios, la persistencia de ciertos fenómenos sociales como el racismo, la discriminación, las formas como se construyen y encarnan las jerarquías, las infraestructuras que sostienen y albergan las memorias, los afectos, el de tránsito, es también la forma como la memoria subvierte el sentido común y la política. En un mundo constantemente amenazado por el avance del conservadurismo, el populismo, de las guerras y los intentos de exterminio de países enteros. La memoria está aquí para recordarnos aquello que nos hace humanos, que es la forma como construimos nuestros mundos, cómo les damos significado y los aprendemos históricamente. And now I'll continue in English because I have to give thanks to many people here. Organizing this conference is not an individual endeavor, but a collective practice, and really a collective practice of solidarity. We have a long list of people to give thanks, starting from the dMSA Executive Committee for the invitation to host the conference in Lima, the institutional support and political commitment that we received from our previous authorities, ex-University President Carlos Garatea, ex-Vice President of Research Aldo Pampici, the constant support from the head of the Department of Social Sciences, David Sulmont. Thank you also to Fanny Muñoz, Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, and our current political authorities at PUC, though they couldn't be here with us. A special thanks to our local organizing committee, Carmen Elizarbe, and our interdisciplinary research group on memory and democracy, Iris Jave, Mariana Norandi, and Maria Angélica Tamayo, and the great colleagues from the regional group Latin America. Que aquí están. Please give a warm applause to Verónica Reinaga for all her support in everything for this conference, and also to Rusha Koszawolska, though she couldn't be here, for working with our headache, the conference platform Drifta, and all the glitches and troubles it may cause. And really sorry for all the inconveniences, and also thank you for your patience. And also I would like to give thanks to Carlos Carvajal from CICEPA and our intern Kayla Kempt from the Watson Foundation, Rocío Zárate, Silvia Sachun, and Carlos Rojas from the Department of Social Sciences, and the motivations and enthusiasm of my colleagues and friends, all my friends from the 8th floor. They are great, actually. And they all give me a lot of strength and really nice words all the time. The film festival is curated by Mauricio Godoy, Maria Fernanda González Lavé, and Ariana Isla will be the responsible for the screening with the support of the Master Program in Visual Anthropology. The roots of memory are possible due to IDEPUC. Julieta Cagui and Patricia Barrantes have worked hard to organize it. The visit to PUC's memorial is the work and enthusiasm of Silvana Vargas. Then we have the help of Paola Romans of the DARS team, and the reading of poetry by Edian Novoa is compelling. And the exhibition Resistencia is curated by Ángel Colunge and Carlos Ceballos with the support of the Faculty of Communication. Here's I think was the dean. Thank you to Dean Eduardo Villanueva, and thank you to Claudio Mendoza, who accepted to have the art pieces from the Museo de Artes y Tradiciones Populares del Instituto Ribagüero also in the exhibition. The historical timeline about Peru's armed conflict and estallido social is a research done by Emilio Salcedo and Mónica Calderón. Thank you for that, and also to the library, La Biblioteca of Social Sciences, for hosting also the book exhibition. I wrote my PhD dissertation about the representations of memory in a Peruvian artwork called retablos. Retablos is actually what inspired the design for the conference. All the designs for this conference, as you can see, the flowers, the colors, were done by Renzo Godoy and are inspired by the Peruvian artwork retablos. And actually, it was my PhD dissertation. So it all comes to around for me. If you have the chance to see the poster of the conference, look at all the little boxes and the images inside recreating different historical moments and that are relevant to our world's collective memories. Thank you to the more than 30 volunteers that you will find with the purple t-shirts that can help you to find the rooms, that can help you with the IT problems that might arise, hope not. And they can help you also to show you where the cafeterias are located or anything that you really need. Thank you to Patricia Harman and Araceli Romero. And finally, to all of those of you who accepted being chairs and moderators for these parallel sessions. Your work is very, very important. Thank you to Yashkani again, and wish you all 3 days of discussions, of learning from each other, and also learning about Peru, our recent past, and our current political, very uncertain stance. My very best wishes to all of you, and wish you a very nice stay in Lima and at PUC, and thank you for coming. Muchas gracias. And now we can have some drinks and have some food outside and maybe talk. And, oh, ¿se fue? Lo apagué. Ahí está. Okay. Sorry. And well, we can have some drinks and have some food to eat. And thank you for being here.